Hey, how you doing, Mac World, YouTube World? I had a very scary event occurred this weekend. It actually happened on what day was it? Sunday? No, Saturday. My wife had brought up a nice dinner. A lunch. I was having lunch and she bought a nice cold drink with it. My MacBook Pro was on the floor and the drink fell down, and luckily the top of my MacBook was closed, but the juice, when it fell, hit the floor with all the ice and stuff, it went into the ports of the left side of my MacBook Pro. So here I am, saying, man, when it hit the ground, I'm thinking my MacBook is on the floor. So I looked over, and there it was, So I pick it up, and I was able to wipe some of the um, the 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 liquid off of it, and I placed it on my desk. And when I opened it up, you heard the gong sound. It was shutting down. So finally, I was like, man. So what I did is I finished wiping it up. The jack was still plugged into the wall, when it happened. So it went out. Didn't, I pressed power. I wasn't really thinking. All I was thinking, like, man, this thing is going to fry and everything like that. So, oh, you look pretty. Okay. But anyway, um, so what I did was I immediately got the fan, put it on there, and let the fan blow through for maybe about 2 hours. Went to turn it back on. Bam, there was no power. There's a little LED light on this thing right here. You see the little dot right there? That little dot right there, there's a little green light, and the lights are real bright. So once you put it in, it'll turn green, or when the computer goes to sleep, it turns amber. So, but it was green, but it was flickering, and it was real subtle. It was like it was faint. It was faint green light, and it was flickering. So I was like, man, something's wrong. So what I did is, yeah, good evening to you. But anyway, yeah, baby, you hollering. But anyway, so what I did is I couldn't get it to work. So Saturday, Sunday, came home, hit power, nothing happened. Monday, July 4th, nothing happened. So finally I went to work, and again I was looking through all the posts. All the posts were saying, well, empty it out. I didn't have a lot of liquid in there because most the floor took the bear the most of the liquid was into the carpet. It just happened to seep into the side ports. But anyway, I went to work today. During lunch, I was skimming the internet, looking at some last posts. I noticed there's not a lot of posts on this that's current. A lot of it is like 2009 going, back to 2006, 2007. So a lot of it wasn't really relevant to what I was looking for. I found one, it was okay, but anyway, long story short, I go to Micro Center, and I was talking to one of the technicians, and I was obviously, I said to him, listen, I know you've seen this before. What can you give me in the way of helping me out to, so that I don't have to pay $500, 400, 300. Well, I wasn't 300, but you were looking at a cost of 500 up to $900, he said. So I was like, man, I don't want to hear that. So I went home. I was going to go to Walgreens to get some alcohol that was 90, I think 90% alcohol. I have some 70, but I don't want to do that. I want to get the top as high of concentration of alcohol as I possibly could. Long story short, got home. I said, okay, let me just open it up, because I opened it up before. I was going to open it up again. First time I opened up, I was just looking at stuff. Everything looked cool. So I opened it up, and I took the battery. There's a little port that actually latches on to the motherboard. I wiggled that up with my fingers, and you can just kind of pull it off. I pulled it off with both my fingers, put one nail on the one end, the other here, and just kind of massaged it until it came out. And then what I did is I plugged this port in. Now notice before it was like flickering faint green. So when I plugged it in, after I'd gotten the battery disconnected, I said it's only two things. Either the motherboard is fried or it's the battery. So let me just try for the motherboard first. So I plugged it in. My wife was sitting over there. We were both holding our breath. Bam. Anybody can I have some water, please? Okay. So I plugged this into the port without the battery being connected. And guess what? Bam! It worked. So I said, okay, this is good. The motherboard is good because I heard the gong sound. I didn't even flip it over. I just knew it worked. So what I did is, from that point, I said, okay, let me put the battery back on. So I put the battery back on, and guess what? When I put the battery back on, and I unhooked this from it, and then it went silent. Then I put the battery, connected the battery to the motherboard, and then I put the port back onto it. And then guess what? It worked. So, I didn't have to go and have somebody look at it and inspect it and get charged $60 and do all this crazy thing. I think this is what I think. Now, I'm not the smartest man in the world, but what I think happened is that whenever there's some type of built-in feature that if something is potentially going to be short circuit before it reaches that point, there's a mechanism that kicks in, some type of program, I don't know what, that shuts everything down, and you need to reset it. And that's the resetting mechanism, is taking the battery out, plugging it in, and doing all the other things. So a lot of you guys have probably been out a lot of money because you guys run into the store hoping that they can help you. And again, it may be that your motherboard is fried, but in this case, I thought it was that, which turned out that it was probably some type of safeguard that would help prevent further damage. Like when something happens traumatically to the human body, instead of, the body responds by you faint. You get just, if you get your leg cut off, you just fall out or faint. So I think that's something that they built into this machine that is as ingenious as this thing, snapping on because it's magnetized. So I hope this helps you, man. If it does, save all the money in the world, because I just saved $600 or $900 barring if there's not something that could happen later on. But most of the readings that I've heard, and this is just the last thing, most of the posts that I've read, people have actually wasted liquids on on top of the keyboard, and that didn't happen to me. But mine went in on the side, and again, there's a shut-off feature that's probably built in. But hope this helps y'all. Peace.